I, 37F, want my relationship to work, but he, 36 meters, often blames me for illogical things when stressed. Counseling. I have been with him for 6 years. Some quick background: I have a job that is much less stressful than his. He has a high stress, high paying job. He also wants a lot more stuff in life. Big house, fancy car, vacations. I'm just mentioning this because I don't want it to seem that I am asking him to live in this high stress environment. He insists on it. He gets stressed out a lot, both with work and by fighting with various family members, and is unable to cope with stress. We've tried various methods to lower his stress, but inevitably he faces stress and he reacts very poorly. And if I'm around, it usually involves blaming me in one way or another. For example, he recently became stressed out while submitting his invoices/expenses for work. He snapped at me that I should be looking after this for him. I told him I'm happy to help, but I need clear direction on how to do it. He just tells me it isn't rocket science. When I tell him that I don't even know the expenses, he has a lot of people who purchase things on his behalf which he then submits for. He just said that I already know the people who purchase for him and should be contacting them myself each week to ask for a list. 1. He's never asked me to do this. 2. I actually don't know all the people who are involved in his projects. I've never met any of them. I do see emails that he CCs me on here and there. I would feel strange just randomly emailing people at his job asking these questions, but if he sets it up so that is what I'm supposed to do, I'm happy to do so. He also became very angry with me recently because he didn't pay an insurance premium that he needs to pay for his job. I've never been involved in paying it, etc. He has paid it himself long before I even knew him. He missed paying it, and when they contacted him he blamed me. He told me that I'm incompetent and he needs someone supportive. I would happily look after this for him had he just asked me to, but he never has. Finally, he has a shop and he recently got a notice that he hadn't paid hydro and it was a final notice. His bills go to the shop so I don't see them. We were together and he paid it online. Great. Well, apparently it takes several business days to go through, so they cut the hydro at the shop. He was then incredibly stressed, understandable, but blamed me for it. He said I should have called them to let them know he had made a payment. He hadn't asked me to do that, nor did I even realize it was the final notice. He still felt it was my fault. These are just a few examples, but this type of thing happens on a regular basis. He also will blame me for random things all the time, not only related to secretarial type things. He regularly tells me I waste my time in a job that doesn't pay a lot instead of just living to support him. He says he pays for my lifestyle. He does pay a lot of the bills, but it's his choice to have very expensive things that I can't pay for. I've never asked for any of this and I have on occasion suggested a more modest lifestyle where I could contribute equally. I just don't know. I'm happy to help him but he never clearly explains what he wants me to do. He just gets mad after the fact. I sort of feel like this is emotional abuse but I'm unsure. Talking to him doesn't get us very far because there are always new things that pop up for him to be angry about. Does it sound like counseling could fix this? He definitely has a blamer type of personality even when I know I'm not actually at fault. He has always relied heavily on his parents to fix his issues, and they always have, even when it is due to him being irresponsible. How on earth can I navigate this type of dynamic to avoid constantly being blamed for issues of his own creation? Too long didn't read. How can I learn to live with someone who has a knee-jerk reaction to blame me for everything? This isn't just a matter of irrational blaming. You're dating a man who thinks it's the woman's job to read his mind and take care of anything he doesn't take care of, regardless of his ability to communicate that expectation to her. There is a real risk that no matter what you say or do, as long as you stay with him, he will attempt to enforce this imaginary girlfriend employment contract of his where you owe him your labor in any and all aspects of his life, on demand, at any moment. That's a fundamental values problem, not a communication problem. He doesn't want your help or your support as a partner. He expects your labor as a subordinate who specializes in all of his personal needs. He expects his partner, the woman, to live her life a step behind him, picking up after him in every aspect of his personal and professional life, and anticipating all his possible needs. Even if he gets better about communicating what he would like help with, this fundamental attitude towards your worth in the relationship, and your labor, is a big problem unless you intend to make his happiness your primary job in life. Sounds like your BF thinks of you as his unpaid intern, not his girlfriend. The problem isn't that he's bad at communicating, it's that he treats you like his subordinate at work and not as his equal in your romantic relationship. This sounds bizarre to me. You have your own goddamn job, you are not his servant. I don't know how you are tolerating this. My hubby has pulled off the odd WTF moment similar to this, but not as a matter of routine like this sounds it is. I think for your mental well-being you need to get away from this. Look up the salaries for personal assistants and secretaries. The next time he gets pissy, show him the numbers and tell him you don't work for free. But seriously, you have to stop even thinking about helping with this stuff. You need to be upfront and clear that you are not there to work for him, and the blame game needs to stop. If he won't listen, leave. That's really the only way to navigate this relationship. I have to ask you this. Why do you want this relationship to work? It sounds awful and sexist. You shouldn't have to learn to live with someone like this. He shouldn't be like this. He's a garbage person. Boyfriend stops caring about me as soon as he starts going through something hard himself. Is it okay? I've been in a relationship with my boyfriend for almost a year. He has a dog that's 10 years old and he means a lot to him. He's been very ill and tonight he'll have to put him down. Frown. I, as a dog owner myself, understand how horrible he must be feeling, so I have been trying my absolute hardest to be there for him whenever he needs me. Background info: I've been depressed and anorexic, with toxic abusive parents and a lot of crap going on in my life, so I'm pretty often feeling down and am in need of support, and most of the time he tries to give it to me. But now that I know how much he's going through, I decided to push myself to the side for now. Don't mention the stuff I'm going through and wear this fake smile for him to not be worried about me and for me to be the source of positivity for him. So I've been doing thing for a couple weeks and breaking down on my own almost every day, but still acting like I'm alright for him because I really didn't want to burden him but to lift him up. He was often in need of support and so he would call me, and sometimes I would literally be unable to do my assignments and go to university for 3 days straight. But I was doing all this because I wanted to make him feel better. And then one day when we were together I dared to say that I've been feeling pretty sad. Guess what his response was? He said, how can you be so selfish? You see how much I'm going through but still keep shoving your stuff in my face. I felt really cheated on, and if it's selfish of me to expect him to be kind to be. Again, I wasn't expecting him to become my therapist, but the thing is that he's legit the only person I can turn to for comfort, so it's been really hard for me. After a while I snapped him that I'm not okay with how he was acting, that I don't deserve him getting so annoyed at me for just explaining my feelings. He snapped at me. He started yelling that I'm selfish, that I only care for myself, and that if I can't take care of neither my emotions nor his, then we should stop talking for a while and start talking again when I'm more stable. In my opinion, no matter what, partners are supposed to support each other no matter what. Also, he said that he talked to his friends about it and they say that he's right and I'm wrong. But as I realized later, he only told them that his dog is dying and I was asking for his comfort as if I don't care. But for me it is that I've been breaking down and having suicidal thoughts and still holding it back for him, and when I was slightly unable to hide my feelings I got yelled at and ended up looking like a horrible person in his friends' eyes. And the next day I was so drained and mad at him, I wasn't talking to him and I went to study and I fainted, and when I got to the hospital I was told that my heart is really weak and if I dress myself out too much, I might legit be in a lot trouble. Now I'm just really confused about everything and I have no clue who's right and who's wrong. I feel like I really don't deserve being treated like this after all I've been doing for him. But I still understand that he is going through a lot and I can't ask for too much. What do I do? I really love him though, and breaking up is not an option for me at all, so don't mention it please. Frown. He's the love of my life and I want to work on our relationship rather than end it. Too long. Didn't read. My boyfriend says it's okay for him to completely focus on himself when he is going through something and ignore my struggle completely. Whereas me, being depressed, anorexic and abused by parents daily, is constantly there for him, no matter at what cost. I'm going to go a bit against the grain here and say that neither of you seem like you're in the right place for a relationship right now. He's absolutely in the wrong for yelling at you, because yelling has no place in a relationship. He also shouldn't be taking you away from your studies. I'm unclear, though, why you didn't offer what support you could and draw a boundary when you had to go to class. But you are still, by the sounds of it, deep in the throes of anorexia and live in an abusive environment. You are actively suicidal, and need professional care for that. Your boyfriend is simply not equipped to be your sole source of support. Believe me, I have 2 attempts under my belt. You cannot be focusing on a romantic relationship with another person right now. Your sole focus needs to be on healing yourself and finding a way to cope with or escape your abusive household. Depending on how old you are, you don't mention that. I agree with this. This relationship actually sounds like a codependent shitstorm without any boundaries at all. Edit, you're not entitled to his emotional support all of the time. Even if you try to give it to him all of the time, he should be able to deal with his own stuff without having to worry about whether or not his girlfriend needs attention. You need to work through some of this stuff on your own, with the help of professionals, before you should get into a relationship. It sounds like you really need to be getting professional help. If you're this depressed and suicidal, it's not fair to expect your boyfriend to be your whole support system when he's not a professional. He's your partner, not your caretaker. You probably shouldn't be in a relationship right now and should just focus on yourself and getting better. I think your boyfriend is overburdened from always having to deal with your mental illness, and if you're not seeking the professional help you need, his burden never ends because you won't get any better. Being in a place where you're breaking down every day is not good, and it's too much to ask a partner to handle that. He could be fatigued from you always needing comfort, to the point that he's built up resentments, so this one ask was a trigger for him. Maybe he feels like it unbalances the relationship and that frustrates him. As others state, you need to diversify your support system, and really begin to rely on professional help the most. You shouldn't be in a relationship right now. Everything else aside about this mess, you need professional help. You have to work on your own pain and situation before you can be a true partner. You don't mention your age, but I'm gonna guess no older than 19. You're young. You'll love past him, but you need treatment. Two struggling people can't pull each other up. You both need to just take care of yourselves. If your relationship has been about him lifting you up until he has been hit with a bunch of crap, he probably is resentful. Honestly, it would be best for you to work out your own stuff, get therapy and figure out how to move past your own pain. This sounds situational and he will move through it. I tend to be the centered one in my friendships, but when the time comes where shit happens to me, I definitely do not have it in me to give a shit about others' stuff, and I do feel like if I need to collapse, I am going to, and I am not going to give more of myself to others, until I get right again. Sounds like your boyfriend just wants his space for himself to process his own life. You should take the same space. It is not his job to pick you up. You have to figure out how to do that for yourself. I don't know how to tell my dad I don't want him walking me down the aisle. Obligatory, I'm on mobile, sorry for any formatting issues. So this has been something that I've thought about for a while, but my F21 boyfriend, M21, just proposed and now I have to fully face it. I have yet to tell my biological dad about the proposal because I know he's going to immediately bring up walking me down the aisle and quite possible the father-daughter dance. To say that my dad and I haven't had a great relationship is a downplay. We see each other maybe once every 2 or 3 months. I haven't seen him since June. In fact, he hates my mother and has said very rude things about me and my brother's upbringing and how we turned out to her. He's a liar, will promise the moon and deliver nothing, and decided when I was 18 he was done helping me out in life, college, health problems, finding my own place to live. Yet he still wonders why I'm cold to him and why we don't talk more often. Regardless of this, I hate confrontation, which is part of the reason why I haven't just completely cut him out of my life. I want my brother, M23, to walk me down the aisle. He's already said he would do it and he's always been there for me. We have a great relationship, and I love him with all my heart. I want to give him this importance. So Reddit, I need advice on the easiest, least confrontational way to tell my dad I don't want him to be the one to walk me down the aisle. Too long didn't read. I want my brother to walk me down the aisle, but I don't know how to tell my dad.